All right.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Sarah Touchstone with Landmark Title. Welcome to Hot Topics. What is happening in our industry? Today, we're going to be covering Arizona's real estate industry market stats and conditions. I'd like to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors, Old Republic Home Protection, Caliber Home Loans, but of course, Landmark Title. We have a couple of fantastic speakers this morning. Our first one on our expert panel is Scott, who is the ARMLS Chair. He is going to go over local market stats with us and give us a little bit of information, a little bit of graphs as to be able to better interpret our market right now, because that's what it really is. It's about interpreting what is going on. So I had the great pleasure yesterday of getting to sit down with Scott and go over these stats. Spoiler alert, they're pretty amazing. And you guys are going to find a lot of really good information. Scott and I had the opportunity to actually go through and not only see how the last few months have impacted our market, but how we are almost, should I say, rebounding in our current market conditions. So his stats are amazing. You are going to be very impressed, and you're going to get a lot of information that you can put forth when using with your clients. And then our second expert panelist is none other than Michelle, who is the Chief Executive Officer for the Arizona Realtors. I have also had the great pleasure of seeing some of her information, and this update is so pertinent in our market right now. And it is really what you need to be aware of and what you need to know as a real estate professional moving forward in these unique times. So Scott and Michelle, we're so grateful to have you on today. We're going to start out this morning with Scott. Scott, would you like to give a little bit more introduction and background about yourself?
I'm the owner-broker at Keller Williams at the Biltmore. I've been fortunate to serve on the ARMLS Board of Directors for 5.5 years. I've enjoyed real estate for 15 years, and I've had the privilege of interacting frequently with Miss Michelle Lind, and please know their organization is ranked at a national level of doing things very, very well. And she's the leader of that group, and proud to share a little insight from our world and to learn from Michelle today. It's going to be good.
It is going to be absolutely amazing. So thank you all so much for joining us today. The way these webinars work is you can put your comments into the chat function. We're going to let our expert panelists give us the information that they came here today to give. If I can, I will work some of the questions in if they work. If not, we will have a specific Q&A portion at the end of this. So if you have your questions, please ask away. If you have any comments, use your chat feature. But at the end, we're going to have the opportunity to really delve into some of these issues a little bit more. So please stay patient and let's get this show on the road. All right, Scott.
Thank you, Sarah, and thanks for driving the slides today. Ladies and gentlemen, almost all this information is current as of Monday of this week. What we're trying to accomplish with about 7 to 9 slides is give insight as to where to get additional information other than just market stats. Steve Jobs has a quote out there that looks something like this. We can't connect the dots looking forward. We can only connect dots looking backward. And we have to trust in our knowledge search that we're finding a way to have the dots connect into our future. And so this future graph here, this very first graph, has to do with showing times, number of showings in our Arizona Regional MLS. And if you can see the graph all the way to June 1st, what we're looking at is we're just a few points below where our run rate has been prior to the pandemic. The pandemic setting in somewhere between March 12th, March 14th. That orange line that you see troughing down, we did dip below 40% of our showings at the early April timeframe. And when we look at opening up our state and our marketplace again, showings have rebounded back very nicely. This graph is available through ARMLS. It's available for everybody at any time. There's a task or a process to get to it. But this to me reveals that our people are back searching for homes today, not now, right now. Sarah, if you'll move to the next slide for us, we'll continue. This graph here represents the market as of yesterday morning with the total number of actives in Maricopa County, the number of solds, and the number of homes under contract. And the key thing to take away from this slide here is our inventory just a month ago was just under 12,000 homes. Our actives have been reduced all the way down to 9544. And if you look to the right, we're under contract has surged 10,358 as of yesterday morning. That is a lot of people being under contract, a lot of activity. If you're talking to a home that's priced at market, frequently we're seeing multiple offers, sometimes over asking. It can create buyer fatigue if people have lost out over and over again on the opportunity to buy a certain home. Our market has recovered, and our market is very brisk. And I think there's some other reasons why. We'll get into that in just a second. Sarah, if you go to the next slide for me. This infographic is from the Arizona Regional MLS, and this is from their product they call Rapid Stats. And this is a very simple overview graph. This particular screenshot is of just Maricopa County, nothing else, nothing in the White Mountains, Flagstaff, Tucson. And the blue dot looking at active listings, and it's saying it's down 29.8%. If you follow the white line to the right hand of the page and look at active listings, the 9544 is what we had as of Monday. A year ago in May, we had over 13,594. So if you just follow the various color-coded dots of the infographic, and then when you look at the icons and the numerics, it's going to show you where the market was a year ago. And the big thing here is that all of Maricopa County, the median sale price of homes has gone up 8.5% across the board in all of Maricopa County, with an average of $176.65 per square foot. That's how to read this particular graph. The other part that I like about the Rapid Stats product is, hey, here's a 10,000 foot view over Maricopa County. If you go to the next slide for me, Sarah, this next slide is zooming down and just hovering over the city of Phoenix. And with this productivity tool, we can hover over a specific city, over multiple cities. You get to choose as you input this. So I just wanted to give the audience a quick view of Maricopa County, then hover over the city of Phoenix. And our active listings are down 36% in Metro Phoenix. And for the number of our population, somewhere around 1.6 million in Phoenix, give or take, we only have 2,238 active listings. That's not very many doors to choose from in Metro Phoenix. A year ago, we had 3,533. When you look at averaging or aggregating up all of Metro Phoenix, our average or median per square foot is $183.42. In Phoenix, essentially in the yellow circle, Phoenix is up, according to this graph, in the median price 10.4% from a year ago. That is an impressive movement in our market. If we go from Maricopa County to Phoenix and we go to the next graph, we'll hover over our key Arcadia graph. Sarah, if you'll hit the next slide for me. This is the zip code of just 85018 only. And those listings are down 43%. And the median sale price is up a significant 21.2% at $298 per square foot. That's up from $246 a year ago. I wanted to comment on that just real quickly. Some of that is from what my managing broker would explain, what we're going to call forced appreciation. In that specific market, there's a lot of homes that are being purchased at original. They're remodeling these homes, they're adding square footage, and they're going in at a certain price to buy the original home. They're coming out with that home being updated and added square footage, and they're getting a significant number. But 21% in Arcadia is pretty darn significant growth. Our month supply is at 3.5%, and our days on market are running high 30s, 43 days across the board in most of Maricopa County. This same type of graph, Sarah, if we move to the next slide, please, this same type of tool, back up one for me. Let's see. There we go. Thank you. This same type of output can be done in the rental market. If you are working with an investor who wants to buy a series of homes or condos or townhomes, you can look at what is the rental market, how many homes are there out there, the dollars per square foot, etc. Well, this is, again, all of Maricopa County, all the rentals, which is just 2,283 that are submitted into our MLS. Not all rentals go into the MLS, but the ones that are, we just have a couple thousand. And the average across the board is $1.07 per square foot. As you move into Phoenix, it sneaks up to about $1.13. And when you come in and around Arcadia, the Biltmore, it runs to about $1.43 to $1.50. But this is a great productivity tool to share with your clients, share with your buyers, your sellers, your investors. It's a very simple but effective way to communicate accurately. So thanks for letting me share that, Sarah. I'm proud of this product that ARMLS has created. If you'll go to the next slide for me, please. This is a custom graph that the folks from ARMLS have done for this meeting for us, and it's really trying to illustrate the pandemic when it set in, when we shut down our state. That happened, give or take, March 12th, March 14th. You see the rise. Oh, by the way, the top graph is the number of homes that have fallen out of contract. The yellow orange line is the number of homes that went to temporarily off market. But you can see that right around the March 12th date, the number of homes canceling, contracts canceling, and the number of homes going to temporary off market surged. And when we opened up the city again in and around March or April 15th, just after, we have come back to what it looks like a normal run rate moving forward. And this graph, combined with the original showing document, lets us see that our market has recovered pretty nicely. Sarah, if we'll move forward, please. This next graph is validating exactly that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this might be a little bit busy, but if you study hard with me, the top line of this is in purple. If you can see that clearly, is the number of homes under contract. And again, looking at the March 12th date, we still had a lot of homes under contract. When we moved through the next 30 days, we dipped to about April 15th. We troughed it out there with that purple line. And then the market bounced back and people started going under contract somewhere around April 20th, give or take. And that has been surging for ever since, the last 5-6 weeks now. When you look at the green line, that's the number of new listings. When we look at about March 12th, people started putting their homes on the market, and that surged, and we got our inventory just under 12,000 doors. And then since then, we've been burning off that inventory quite quickly. The bottom line, the blue line, has to do with the number of closings. When you look, I'm going to target again March 12th, it looked pretty almost like a flat line. Those homes are already under contract waiting to close. There was a surge in early April. We troughed it out in mid-April, and there was a lot of financing issues going on there. Our interest rates dropped down. A lot of people were refinancing their loans. Money was a little bit tighter, and that has since released, and we are seeing a surge in closed listings. And in that very first graph from ARMLS showing that we're over 10,000 homes under contract, we're going to see that close in the next 30 to 45 days. You're going to see that closed transaction number line skyrocket. I have just a couple more slides, and I'd like to turn this over to Michelle Lynn. Next, please, Sarah. This is a new graph from Mike Delpree. This is a great productivity tool in showing new listings to the marketplace. And this particular graph is on his website. Anybody can log in and look at this. And I selected Phoenix and San Francisco just to show the graphs without making it too busy. But for the audience out there, they could select Houston and Chicago, New York, LA. Any of those cities are available. What I would like to illustrate with this particular graph is when the pandemic started to sit in, we did dip as much, just over 30%, and we've been bouncing along. New listings are down 20 to 30% on a run rate moving forward. But when you look at San Francisco, by comparison, where they shut down the state, they went down over 70% in their marketplace. And so their dip was much more dramatic. And ladies and gentlemen, they're surging right now. There are people that are looking to list their home and leave San Francisco, so to speak, or at least get their homes on the market. There's still 60 to 90,000 people a year moving from California to Arizona. And we may see that number surge as more and more people are able to work from home. As I wind it down, Sarah, I think I have one more. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to leave you with today is, in addition to the ARMLS Rapid Stats product that's out there, I look at 4, 5, 6 different sites every month and look to find out what the master story is going on. And so the Rapid Stat product has been wonderful. One of the productivity tools that they just added is any of those infographic circles that you saw earlier. You can set that up and have it be sent to your client once a week, once a day, once a month. It's a productivity tool that you can communicate directly to your clients with. It's really powerful. I'm a big fan of Chris Camacho and the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. Michelle was one of those that helped me get introduced to the AZ MAG, the Maricopa Association of Governments. The AZ Commerce of Economic Opportunity has a lot of great insight about unemployment and jobs and insight like that. The new graph with the trends of new actives is from Mike Del Pret, and that's his site to get on there. John Burns is a real estate consultant out of Southern California. For years, they've been just phenomenal with insight. And then, of course, Michael Orr and the team at Cromford Report are things that I look at frequently. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to give you a quick overview. Our market, I would say today, is one of the least impacted in our nation's cities. There's a lot of moving parts going on in our world right now. It's volatile, but there's a lot of pressure on buying and selling right now. High communication and a lot of integrity moving forward. Having great knowledge about where the market is a productivity tool that will empower you to move forward. That is my quick overview of the market insights, Sarah. So thank you for that. And Miss Michelle, I'm sure looking forward to what you have to say today too, please.
Thank you so much, Scott. That really was amazing information. And we will have, is it all right if we share these graphs with
100%, 100%.
On here today? Wonderful. We will have these resources available for you after the webinar. The webinar is also being recorded, so make sure to reach out to who invited you, whether it be one of your wonderful Landmark reps or one of our sponsors. They will have this information available for you. So I'd like to do a little segue before I bring in Michelle, because she is worthy of much introduction. So before we get to her amazing material, I do want to touch on a couple of other classes that we have coming up. So if you love this material, if you want more, this is a little bit of a different avenue than market stats. It's about marketing and social media marketing, because this is what we are doing now, because this is what we're doing right now on Zoom. This is a social media platform. So if you would like to attend this afternoon, please reach out to your rep or your sponsor for the link. There will be one this afternoon on social media marketing at 1 p.m. Then next week, we have the second installation of our video marketing series. I am very lucky. I get to teach this one. So I am thrilled to help you level up on your video game. So we had a great class that we did a few weeks ago about video basics. This is the next step into video marketing. So once again, if you'd like to attend these classes, and for a list of more wonderful classes, please reach out to your Landmark Title rep or any of our sponsors that are on here today. With that said, I would like to bring in Michelle Lynn. She is amazing. I was talking with Scott yesterday about her, and he said, you make sure that she gets an amazing introduction, which of course left me speechless. You know, you have so many accreditations and so many acclaims, and we are absolutely thrilled to have you on today. We get to actually do something new together today, which is always fun, because we're going to bring Michelle in, and she's going to share her screen with us. So I'm going to hop off sharing my screen, and let you take it away, Michelle.
All right. Very good. Let's see. You're off. And let's see. Bear with me, folks.
You've got it.
Learning all these, new tools.
It is. This is what's kind of fun.
It actually has been kind of fun, it brings you back to, when PowerPoint and, learning PowerPoint for the first time. So anyway, so thank you, Sarah, and thank you all for being here. And thank you very much, Scott, for all those great statistics from you and from ARMLS to show us where we really are in the market. We're very fortunate, but we are in turbulent times. And so before I get started, I just want to thank everyone that's attended today and to let you know that I sincerely hope that you and your loved ones are well. So here at the Arizona Realtors, I'd like to kind of go over what we've been doing and what issues are important to you. So we have to start with COVID. When the pandemic first began in March, we started getting busy. We had daily communications with the governor's office, and we were very fortunate to be able to work with the governor. The first order of business was, of course, ensuring that the real estate industry was not shut down, and that the governor designated real estate as an essential service. Then we went on to trying to expedite the implementation of the remote online notary statute that had been passed last legislative session and get that moved up, and that occurred as well. Well, secondly, then we wanted to ensure that the members had the tools and information that they needed to conduct business in these unprecedented times. So we've got the COVID hotline, the COVID addendum, the property access form, open house and showing information with flyers and Zooms, and all the tools that I'm sure that you've seen. And then the third thing that we wanted to do was assist our members through some of the financial challenges that the pandemic brought about, and the new programs through the CARES Act. So we started the COVID hotline, and the COVID hotline was ran up until last Friday. And we answered actually hundreds and hundreds of questions from our members on the eviction moratorium, paycheck protection program, unemployment, any of the issues that they had in regards to CARES Act programs. Now we have to kind of move on, and we're addressing liability concerns. There was a recent study talking to buyers and sellers about their concerns in regards to contracting liability and property houses showing. And there is a bill that was introduced at the legislature that is dealing with limiting that kind of a liability. As a lawyer, I sincerely believe that any client, any customer of any business really would have a very difficult time proving liability for contracting COVID, but we want to make sure and address that issue the best we can for our members. So now we're working on moving forward. And one of the things that we want to do in moving forward is to maintain consumer confidence. And what you're seeing on this slide is a full page sponsorship that we had in the Arizona Republic on Sunday. Some of you may have seen it. We'll be doing some other consumer outreach, again, to maintain that consumer confidence in the real estate industry. And also you'll notice in this ad that we want to also through the advertising, through the media, through conveying information, is to educate the governor's office and policymakers on the importance of the real estate industry. As you can see on the slide, I mean, the real estate industry last year contributed over $75 billion in the gross product of the state of Arizona, and the total impact of one home sale to the Arizona economy is over $88,000. So you will be seeing some of these ads on social media, in the paper, again, to bolster that consumer confidence. Some other things that we're doing in maintaining consumer confidence in the industry and providing information. We've got a couple of flyers that you can see there. The flyer there on your right is a realtor value flyer that you can use. It's customizable. One on your left talks about safety in showing homes with the COVID-19 concerns. There was a recent study of buyers and sellers about what their concerns were and what they value and what would make them more confident in purchasing property. And let me just share a few of those takeaways. One thing that they really like virtual tours. They have a lot of high confidence in virtual tours, but they said to improve their confidence level in virtual tours and virtual information about a property would be if the virtual tour included some information and video of the neighborhood and some written information about what improvements the seller may have made to the property. So when you're marketing your properties virtually, consider including some about the neighborhood and some written information about seller improvements. Also, the consumers believe that limiting the number of people in a property at the same time to under 4 would increase their confidence. Obviously, cleanliness, using hand sanitizer, hand wipes, those sort of things. Did ask about masks, and then the mask issue is not as straightforward, and I think that you see that in our society in general. But they did say that if the realtor was wearing a mask, it did show that they did care about others. But their concern about mask use was not straightforward. One thing I do want to say that came out very clear in this study was communication was very important, and communication not just via text and email. That even if you can't have face-to-face communication, that speaking on the phone, Skype, FaceTime, that kind of communication was really important to consumers. So that's some of the things that we wanted to talk to you about in regards to the COVID-19 and the pandemic and the issues we've been dealing with in the last 12 weeks. Now I'd kind of like to switch gears a little bit and remind you that June 1st was the date. June 1st is one of the dates that we introduced revised forms. We introduced 3 revised forms. They weren't revised significantly, but you should be aware of them. The main one I have up here is the buyer inspection notice and seller response form, the BINSR. And you'll notice now when you get the BINSR that you'll see that there's been a lot of lines added both for the buyer disapproval and the seller response portion of the form. One of the reasons this was done was to address transaction desk wrapping problems. If you're using transaction desk on this form, and you would have to do a hard return, or your text would get much smaller. So adding the lines will address this issue. 2 other forms that were revised are the counteroffer form. It just dealt with clarifying the manner acceptance being spelled out, and the homeowners association addendum, just clarifying which buyers, which lines should be filled out by the seller and which ones to be completed by the buyer. That there was getting some confusion in that regard. So take a look at those forms next time you pull them up to use them. The Department of Real Estate. In the beginning of March, the Department of Real Estate issued a new team substantive policy statement. Substantive policy statement is an interpretation of the commissioner's rules, and the commissioner's rules are interpretation of Arizona statute. So the team's SPS, substantive policy statement, was released in March. So if you are involved in a team or a broker who has teams or considering forming a team, you'll want to make sure and take a look at this new substantive policy statement. Primarily, the department, Commissioner Lowe, is very concerned about team advertising, and that team advertising should make it very clear that the team is under an employing broker. And another item in the substantive policy statement is it's the commissioner's position that team names cannot be used on branch office signage. So that's kind of new that came out in the substantive policy statement. So again, take a look at that. So employing brokers, are also strongly encouraged to address teams in their broker policy and procedure manuals. And you can see there on the other side, we have the Arizona Realtors Team Toolkit. Again, that toolkit will give you sample policies and procedures, whether you're a broker dealing with teams or if you are a team leader that is that has a team in designating who's going to do what. The next issue I wanted to kind of update you on is Proposition 126. I know you'll all remember that in 2008, the Arizona Realtors, with our members' support and backing, amended the Arizona Constitution for the third time to prohibit professional services taxes. That passed with a 58% voter passage rate. The city of Phoenix, as you know, then passed an ordinance with fees on ride shares. There was an argument that those fees violated Prop 126. The Attorney General's office opined that those fees also violated Proposition 126 and asked the Arizona Supreme Court to interpret the proposition because it had never been interpreted before. It was new. The Arizona Realtors filed an amicus brief. It's a friend of the court brief with the Supreme Court. Not because we're very concerned about the ride share fees, but we wanted to make sure the Supreme Court didn't interpret the proposition, the constitutional amendment, in any way that would adversely affect our industry. The Supreme Court did upheld the fees, but they have not issued an opinion yet explaining the reasoning. We anticipate that in early fall. Also want to mention our business services. I mentioned Transaction Desk in regards to the Benzer. Wanted to remind you that Transaction Desk, we are continuing to have live support. Every Thursday, there's a live webinar that you can attend. Just go on to the Arizona Realtors website and sign up for that for any training. Zip Forms is still an NAR benefit, and we expect it to be a benefit until 2021. If you use the Zip Forms, you'll have to pay for your mobile and DocuSign if you don't use eSign. And then also single sign-on, we continue to improve that. Logging in has been made significantly easier with single sign-on. And Sarah talked about all the technology that we're using and new technology. So I kind of wanted to just give you a little reminder about the tech helpline. That's a free service to our members. The tech helpline can assist you with virtually any kind of technology problems that you're having, from a virus to network. You can see the list of coverage that you had. It's a free service. If you're having any technology issues, please consider calling the tech hotline. Legislative issues. We remain a constant voice for the real estate industry and realtors at the legislature. So other than our work with the governor's office on the COVID issues, we did work at the legislature. It was an odd session, again, because of the pandemic. The main issues that we were involved in were lobbying against some bills, dealing with homeowners association abusive practices, homeowners association bills we get every legislative session, and also to make sure and continue to protect the integrity of real estate licensure and make sure that the legislatures understand that Arizona licensure for real estate is important to protect the public. We do expect an upcoming special session. The special session will deal with primarily budget and COVID issues. And this is a little list that I do like to use when I talk about the legislature. And this is just a list of some of the things that without the Arizona Realtors involvement with the legislature, how our industry could have changed dramatically. And you'll see that, you can see that when how practice is different in other states. So without our involvement, you could have service taxes. There would be no recourse for construction defects. We could have lost our anti-deficiency statute. We could have a real estate transfer tax. For sale signs and for rent signs, and homeowners associations could be regulated, charged for, prohibited. A variety of other bills, both proactively and that the Arizona Realtors has promoted, or bills that we have prevented from going into law to protect our industry, homeowners, and private property rights. So if you ever wonder where your RAPAC investment goes, that's where your RAPAC investment goes. So it's an election year, and the RAPAC trustees, a group of our members, work with our legislative team to evaluate incumbents that are running for re-election. We evaluate their voting records, and for any challengers, we send them a questionnaire. Sometimes we do interviews on realtor party issues. And we will share that information with our members on where your legislator in your district, how they voted on realtor party issues. So so you'll be seeing that before the election time. And this graph just shows how really balanced our endorsements have been in the past. Sometimes people say that we are too far to the right or too far to the left, but you can see that again, we look at realtor party issues and our endorsements have been fairly even. The final issue I wanted to talk about is the Arizona Housing Fund. And no one is more active in the community than Arizona Realtors. And the Arizona Housing Fund is a fund to provide nonprofits grants to build permanent supportive housing for the homeless. And homelessness obviously is a huge problem, not only in Arizona, but nationwide. And of course, it's even a bigger problem with the COVID crisis. So with your indulgence, I'd like to just show you a 90 minutes, I promise, 90 seconds, a 90-second video that explains what the Housing Fund does.
Change. You know, it's not like they want to be down there.
Approximately 10,000 people in our state are on a list looking for permanent housing.
Drive around this community right now and you'll see a lot of tents. That has been our response to permanent housing.
When you look at the statistics, 700 are families, 800 are veterans, the elderly. That's why I believe that it's critical that we address this problem.
There is an absence on the philanthropic side that would pull in the private sector that would allow us to do this type of work.
The key factors that the nonprofits need is more equity dollars for permanent supportive housing projects. So with that, came up with the idea for the Arizona Housing Fund. It's the equivalent of the dollar at the checkout, except when you buy or sell a house and you're closing on your house, you're asked, do you want to give $25 to the Arizona Housing Fund? It takes 20 seconds to fill out. The money goes right from the title company to the fund, and it's a non-offensive fee that everybody seems to be getting around.
We're asking each one of our customers to contribute $25, and Meritage will match that $25.
Title companies are sending in the money, which showing that the program works, and now it's just getting everybody to sign up for it.
This fits perfectly into the realtor's role in the community because it goes to the core of the homelessness issue. Home is the American dream.
Once they're housed, everything can go from there. I know that I don't want to go back to that life anymore. They're part of something again, and it's not out there on the street.
I got this kid in my room, and I was drowning in water and then pull up in the water.
In order to get a job or go to therapy or shower, or cook breakfast, eat a healthy meal, you need somewhere to do it.
A small $25 investment is a really easy ask.
The people who run these organizations are the real heroes. Our fund's just there to advocate for them and to get them the money they need so they can build permanent supportive housing units.
So thank you for indulging me. My ask to you is the Arizona Realtor Foundation forms are in the forms library. You can download a kit and customize them on the website. And my ask is just to consider presenting those forms to buyers and sellers prior to close of escrow, to send to the escrow company, to make a donation to the fund. As realtors, you do change people's lives, and by contributing and supporting this fund, you can change the lives of those in need, because that's who realtors are. So thank you very much, and I will turn this back over to Sarah.
Wonderful. That was a beautiful video, Michelle. We did have a question. Do you happen to have the link for that video?
I do have the link to that video, and I would be happy to share it. Would it be best for me to send it to you?
Yes, or you can send it to me, or you can put it in the chat function.
Oh, okay. I can.
And everyone can see it.
Okay, great.
That would be wonderful. All right. Well, we are going to finish up with a question and answer period. I think we're actually amazing on our time, so we do have a few minutes. So I did get quite a few questions that came in not too long ago. I think most of them are for Michelle because that's where the information is right now. So the first question that came in is, could you tell us about the Arizona Housing Fund? Well, and how we can be a part of it, which I guess we just covered, didn't we?
Yes, absolutely. There's several ways you can do it. First of all, again, the donation forms are in both SIP forms and transaction desk. You can present it to your client, you fill it out, and then submit it to the escrow company, and they will disperse their fund. $25 will probably be the smallest number on their closing settlement sheet. Or if you would like, as a brokerage, become a partner, you can go to their website. There is, you know, a toolkit with presentation, and obviously add your name to the list of partners. It doesn't cost anything to be a partner. All it is just a commitment to encourage your agents to talk to your buyers and sellers about helping the homeless.
Wonderful. Yes, if you would not mind putting those links in there too, and that would be amazing. Then we'll be able to go there and find out more.
All right.
The second question is, I understand that the commissioner is attempting to get the team advertising under control, but why is it taking so long? Right in there.
Yes, actually, the commissioner is very focused on team. Why is it taking it so long? For the commissioner or for anyone to make significant changes in the way teams work within the real estate, within the brokerage community, actually would take legislation. Teams are not defined by statute. There's nothing in the statute that says how a team can or cannot. They under the exact same rules as anyone else. If you want to change the rules for teams, then you're going to have to go to the legislature. And the current administration has been very reluctant to support any legislation that would increase regulation. And so I think that's from the legislative and political point. Obviously, when you get down to teams and brokerages and teams, that's a different dynamic that also plays into the situation.
All right, let's see. There's a couple of questions that came up for Scott. So there are a few more for you as well, Michelle, but let's hit up Scott, right? All right, Scott, where does the luxury market over 700,000 expect to look like in the next 3 to 6 months?
Boy, that's a great question. And looking at luxury, 7 to 1.2 pre-luxury, 1.2 and above is considered luxury. When you hover over the all of Maricopa County, if you're in Peoria, it's different than Scottsdale, it's different than Paradise Valley. We typically see, if there is a pause in the market, we would normally see luxury pause first. The jumbo loan product has had an impact on the ability for buyers to buy. That is just starting to open up just a little bit right now. We don't have the same capability we had 6 months ago, but it's starting to open back up. If there is a discount from original list to sale price, it is at that luxury market where there's more negotiation going on. Still very strong, and yet it's going to be the first to pause. It's one of those parts of the market we watch closely every month.
Wonderful. I have another question for you, Scott.
Please.
When does the 45-day reset start, and how far back is MLS going to redate?
Great question. And so the board voted for that to go into effect earlier this year. There was some technicality with the FBS product, which is the owner of our Flex MLS product. The board had another vote just recently in the last 4 weeks, and look to that to sit in and begin probably within the next 30 to 60 days. And then time coming back, this has to do with a master reset, not just the actives. And so please know the MLS board, our Arizona Regional MLS board, is working closely with our vendor FBS to make that as smooth as possible. I can tell you we're excited to be able to provide this to our agent population.
Wonderful. And then Michelle, there is another question, I believe, for you. Why doesn't the state county implement a moderately priced dwelling unit bill so that the new builds have to have a percentage of their homes dedicated to this?
I'm not sure that Scott, can you help me out? I'm not sure I understand. I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand the question.
Sarah, one more time.
Are we talking about the housing fund?
Perhaps
Yeah,
that might be what they were indicating. Why don't new builders bring in, yes, the answer was yes.
Yes, okay.
In regards to the housing fund.
Yeah. So, okay, so that would take legislation, right? So again, it would take going through the legislature and doing that. And I can't speak for the Home Builders Association, but my guess would be that making that a requirement as part of, getting a building permit or that sort of thing would meet with resistance at the legislature. However, I can tell you that many home builders, and you saw the Meritage Homes as well, is doing this voluntarily. And I think that you can see from the homeless situation that we have that government alone is not going to be able to deal with the homelessness problem that we have in this state, in this nation. It's going to take both private philanthropic work as well as public work.
It's going to take a village, right?
It takes a village. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to take all of us. All right. I think we have time for one more question. What legislations or propositions should we be aware of in this coming election that will affect our business?
Yeah. So yes. So right now, I mean, this has been it's been a really interesting time because we started in January with all these different issues, and now there's been such a dramatic shift with the pandemic. And with, quite honestly, the racial tensions, all the things that have been happening. One thing that we do need to make sure is there have been several times that there's been pushes at the legislature to reduce licensing requirements, to allow out-of-state licensees to practice in Arizona without having to take the Arizona portion of the licensing exam. So I mentioned before, the push to deregulate the state. So that I believe will be a continued concern and a continued focus for the Arizona Realtors, again, to make sure that that people are protected, that real estate licensees are educated and understand Arizona law, because real estate law is not the same in Arizona as it is in New York. So we want to make sure that that happens. That's been a big issue. I mentioned homeowners associations. That will continue to be a big issue. But I think regulatory and licensing is probably the biggest issue that comes to mind.
Wonderful. Well, perfect.
And Sarah, I sent you the link to the video because I'm not smart enough to know how to get out of here and get into chat to put it on.
That's perfect. You had a little bit of help on that front as well. I've taken that. It is posted in our chat function. So go ahead, go look into the chat. I'll go ahead, I'll put together all of these slides, our recording from today, and that will all be available, and as well as that link. So if you want it now, the link to that video, it is in our chat function. We have it there. Like I said, all of this will be available as well if you reach out to your rep or the person that invited you, or you pre-registered for this webinar. So we will have all of that available to you. If you do have any other questions that we just didn't have time to get to today, please reach out to us. Reach out to us here at Landmark Title. You can reach out to me, Sarah Touchstone, at sarah.touchstone@LTAZ if you have any other questions. I would like to thank all of our business development managers that are on today. Christy, Melinda, Mary, Beth, Becky, Patty, and Michael. Thank you all so much for bringing everybody that we had today. This was an absolutely amazing, amazing panel and amazing questions. So like I said, if you have other questions, please reach out to us. We'll get them answered for you. And we'll hopefully have you guys back on another one. This was great information.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate being invited, and I appreciate being here. And thank you all that attended.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Until next time.
Bye now.